ARK thinks that Bitcoin is going to hit $1 million by 2030. And we have some fantastic graphics to kind of showcase this data because they're just not throwing out this prediction. There's actually data here. There's charts. But ARK predicts that Bitcoin will hit 1 million by 2030 because its fundamentals are still sound, which I agree. In the recent Big Search report, they said contagion caused by centralized counterparties has elevated Bitcoin's value proposition, decentralization, auditability, and transparency. I would argue that you can do that with altcoins as well. Its fundamentals have strengthened its holder base and become more long-term focused. They backed up these statements by discussing a higher hash rate, long-term holder supply, and addresses many non-zero balance compared to prior turndowns, and discuss how a 5-year compound annual growth rate basis, Bitcoin is up an average of 272%, while global equities are up 6.1%. I did want to go ahead and give this over to Will because he is our native Bitcoin person, but Zach had his hand up and I want to hear if Zach has any hot takes on this or any TikTok references.
I mean, I'll go with the hot take. I mean, you know that book, it's like How to Lie with Statistics. Like, this feels like that. This feels like some serious stuff. They're like, we need some numbers. The GACR, like, it's up like 200. This is huge. I mean, I have a lot of respect for them holding strong. They said 1 million by 2030. Damn it, they're sticking to it. 1 million per Bitcoin by 2030. So that's where I respect them. These numbers, sure, maybe they're real. I don't know. They seem a little cherry picked. But the big story to me is they have the commitment to stand by that audacious claim that we'll see $1 million Bitcoin in 7 years. So that's my take. I'll toss it down to Will. I cede my time.
Zach, you're spot on there. Look at the metrics they pulled. So hash rate is one metric, and hash rate is an aggregation of the amount of miners on the network who are mining Bitcoin and securing the network by like mining Bitcoin itself. And that's normally like a metric that trails the price of Bitcoin, right? Like, I'm only going to mine Bitcoin because I think I can get Bitcoin and Bitcoin is worth something. That doesn't indicate that Bitcoin's price is going to go up in the future. It just indicates that Bitcoin's price is up right now and people have an interest in mining it. And so that's a lot of what you get with these research notes, right? We always bring on these banking headlines, and guess what? Crypto researchers, they do the same thing, right? They're just like the same people, just a different token or different asset they like to talk about. And they're doing it here too. If they're taking the wrong metrics and they're making a price prediction based on it. And that's great that they have like a lot of conviction in whatever they're going to do. Like, I think all four of us on the show also have a lot of conviction that Bitcoin's going to be worth more than it is in the future than it is right now. But I hate seeing these reports. Like, come on, give us something a little bit better than just like addresses and hash rate. I would like something more. Jen, to you.
When Wendy said we had some charts that were going to back up this statement, I just pictured just like a bunch of rocket ships and like Bitcoin to the moon and no relevant information. And that's kind of what we got in numbers form. I love that Cathie Wood is sticking to this Bitcoin narrative, but we have to remember that she holds a lot of stocks that are very closely correlated to Bitcoin. And so, you know, they got to pump their bags. I don't think that they can go out there and say anything negative about what's going to happen to Bitcoin, especially in the next decade. I think we're all bullish on Bitcoin. We agree that it's going to go up 1 million by 2030. Seems exciting. Like, if that happens, come on, we are just all going to be so happy. But Wendy, I will pass it back to you.
I have a couple other interesting points here. Because then again, I don't like statistics. I've taken so many math classes and statistics is not a fun thing. Anyways, in 2021, she predicted that Bitcoin would hit 500,000 by 2026. So fingers crossed. I would love to pay my house off. And then also too, ARK estimates that 65% of the world will be using at least one digital wallet by 2030. That stat I can get behind in some aspect, but that would be contingent if we introduce a CBDC, because essentially that would be a digital currency. So that would make sense. But yeah, stuff.
I'll take it. I think the story is very compelling, right? I mean, you know, Bitcoin's fundamentals are strong because all these centralized intermediaries did bad things, right? You hear it out there time and time again. And Cathie, I guess, is saying that as well. And I think there's a story to be told there, right? The question is it going to materially change how many people are using this thing, right? And I think the digital wallet stat is really interesting because I think there is a sea change going with how people are paying for stuff. You see increasing usage of people paying for things with their phones in the US, right? In other countries, this has been more common for longer, but in the US specifically, there's recent data suggesting that people are coming far more comfortable with paying with Google Pay, with Apple Pay, with anything on their phone. And so the familiarity with digital wallet, I think, is something that could be really important for cryptocurrencies going forward, both Bitcoin and others. Just that level of comfort with using a digital wallet is something that I think has been pretty foreign to most folks in the US specifically over the past few years. The idea that that's changing, I think, does suggest that maybe some wider usage of these things is in store, but is that going to ultimately, tip Bitcoin over $1 million per coin? I don't know. We'll see. Will, last thoughts. I got to tease.
Yeah, last thoughts here. I think like some of the stuff is spot on. So like digital wallets, people are using that more and more, and for good reasons. Extremely convenient. Like last night, I was paying for parking before a Nuggets game, and we won, by the way. So congrats to the Denver Nuggets. And I had to like take forever to get my credit card out and like put in the information into my phone and then process it. Took so long, but if you use crypto, if you're familiar with it, takes like 3 seconds. Just like put your key in there, just save it with like your thumb, and boom, you're good to go. So that sort of stuff makes sense. Kathy Wood, on the other hand, like she's pretty bullish. She's going to keep talking her bag. So we'll see. Hopefully $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. I guess that would be pretty awesome. I don't know what the state of the US economy would be if that occurred, but we will leave that for another day. Zach, back to you.
All right. We love the Kathy, and there was definitely wag me vibes to that whole segment.